Hello there. Have you ever wondered why some buildings last longer while other buildings actually fail over a very short period of time? Have you also observed that some cities in the world, and also in Kenya, some towns in Kenya, some cities in Kenya, some urban centers in Kenya thrive while others fail? Welcome to Architectural Diligence. This is a channel that will look into diverse aspects of the built environment, and I'm here to help you decode most of the aspects that we don't understand when we are going through the aspect of putting up a home, buying that home, or even looking for proper investment. I'm Dongo Gerard. I'm an architect and a real estate professional who is out here to help you decode these processes. This channel will basically look into various aspects, and number one, we look into architecture, and here we'll be looking at aspect to do with design processes. I look at planning aspects that you need to meet, the bylaws that are required to be met within the sub-counties or the counties that you come from, and also help you understand how a design evolves from an idea to a construction process and even a livable home. And we'll also look at building regulations and the guidelines that you need to meet so that you have your building approved without any mistakes. Around it, I'll also bring in my colleagues in the industry, that is the QSs, where we look into how BQs are structured and why you need a BQ in that process. We'll also bring in structural engineers. These are people who will help us understand the stability of a building, because once an architect does a building, you need the frame or you need the skeleton that will help the building stand. So we'll actually look into those aspects through my colleague engineers. Other people that we look at are electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, and see how those aspects in terms of lighting, the plumbing, how do they affect a building. We also delve into landscape architecture through my colleagues in that field and see how landscape influence a building. Actually, I'm told 15% of a building actually increases value by 15% by basically having good landscape. We'll also delve into environmental planning, urban planning, and look how these aspects impact a single building from a larger master plan. Once we are done looking at those individual disciplines and how they impact built environment, I'll also now delve into real estate. And real estate here basically looking at the simple processing of buying a piece of land, whether for agriculture, whether for developing your home, and even for speculation. So we look at how you're able to buy a piece of land. We'll also look at the processes that you need to go through as you buy that land. Is it the due diligence process, doing searches at land office, and even dig deeper what it means to do a due diligence, which in this case I'm calling architectural due diligence. We'll also look at the process of buying a home, because you may not necessarily be looking at buying a piece of land. You may want to buy a ready home. So what are things that you need to look at as you buy that home? And then globally, we look at who are these people who are involved in that sector, whether it is land or the building. Here we look at the developers, and we look at different categories of developers in terms of land, housing, and how they are classified. Then we'll also delve at people who will help you identify these properties. These are basically the agents, the real estate agents. These are people who will help you be able to go through this process. And this also goes to the lawyers who are basically in land processes. We'll also invite them and be able to dig deeper in terms of how these processes take you through. Why have I brought this channel? It's basically for simple reasoning that most of us, we want to create wealth. We want to create wealth in a legitimate way. We want to create wealth in an integrity way, but we lack platforms that can give us information on how this is to be done. Because most of us have bought land, and you realize that the land that you bought has issues. You're almost the fifth buyer, and by the time you realize you're in a dispute, you've gone bought that apartment, and by the time you are in it, you need to pump another 10-20% of an amount to renovate, to change that tap. At times you have to repaint it. At times you have to change the floor tiles, the door locks, name it. So what are things that you need to look at before you buy that apartment? Then once we look at the real estate aspect, we'll also look at aspects that affect real estate. And number one is taxation. And here I'm looking at capital gain. What is capital gain? And how do you go around it in terms of whether you're buying or you're selling that piece of land. Then we'll also look at rental taxation, because if you develop a rental property and you're collecting rent, tax will come your way. So we look at different taxation regimes that affect real estate and be able to advise you with my colleagues in that industry, the tax experts, and decode all these aspects. Then over and above that, I will also take you through tours into various projects so that you're able to understand what it takes to do a site visit. Maybe it's in a construction site, buildings are still at the early stages. What are some of the aspects that you need to look at? Then the other people that will also look at addressing are my fellow colleagues in the industry. And here I will start away from the students, the graduates, those people in college, people who are looking at starting off in this industry, whether it may be architects, may it be QSs, basically everybody who want to venture into the built environment. I'll also delve into that aspects and be able to offer what I know over my years in my years of experience in this industry. Then we'll also delve at people who support this industry. Here we're looking at the manufacturers, maybe it be paint manufacturer, the stones, we have tiles, name it. I look at trying to reach out to some of them and be able to explain how these processes need to be carried. Whether you're doing construction by your own or doing it through a contractor, what are some of the things that you need to look at when you're purchasing these materials? I'll also look at various suppliers, because once you come from the manufacturer, you come to the local hardwares, we have people who are basically in this value chain. We look at how that space behaves. Then once we've been able to procure materials, we also look at people who help you put up a building. Basically here I'm talking about a contractor, or even actually putting that building by yourself. So what are some of the things that you need to look at so that you're able to get a sound building, sound construction, and construct that is quality. Then if you have bought that piece of land, what are some of the things that you need to do to make sure that that land is still legitimate? Are you paying your rates? Have you maybe done some value addition on that plot so that you can get some income out of it? As much as it may be for capital gain, what are some of the things that you need to do to make sure that this piece of land, as you wait for capital gain, is some value on it? Then once we finish all that realm, we also will delve into estate management. This once you bought the piece of land, put up a house, what are some of the things that need to happen in an estate management setup? Basically, these are looking at the life cycle of an estate, of a neighborhood. And we look at garbage collection, security, water supply, power supply, and also coming up with the resident association, looking at how estates are managed by managers. So these are some of the things that I look at. And that's why today I'm bringing this channel by the name Architectural Diligence, to be able to share experiences, to be able to pursue wisdom from other experts, and be able to bring you information that is easy to understand, easy to consume, and to help you make very simple decisions that you need to make on your desktop. Then once we sort out the estate management, we look at how at times you retire property in terms of whether you're selling, whether you're renovating. We look at all that space. So I want to welcome you, create your time, follow this channel, do like, do follow, and do share it to your colleagues so that at least we walk this journey together. Because once you share the channel to other colleagues, it will help us be able to create more materials that will help us educate more people out in the society. So karibuni sana to my channel by the name Architectural Diligence, where we enhance integrity and legibility on what you want to do out there. See you in the next one.